We're looking at a top-load Whirlpool washer cabrio, and the complaint was an error code. Error code that was coming up was a F5E3, and then we went to the diagnostics mode, pulled up any of the other error codes. We also had a F2E1 and an F2E2. The F2E1, I believe, was a stuck button on the UI, which can be caused somebody presses and holds the button for too long. So we tested the buttons out. Everything's good there. The other two error codes are for the lid, the latch, or the lock. One for not locking, and I believe the other one was, one was for not unlocking, and that was what the customer had complained about, was that the lid just stayed locked for a long time and would not unlock. And the other one's another lock or latch error code with it not locking. So you could have a bad latch, obviously, that's causing that, or it could also be the control board, which is what that plugs into. Control board sends the power out, reads if it's open and closed, locked and unlocked. So in this case, what we're going to be doing, everything checked out, fine. You can obviously test the lock out, lock it, unlock it. You can do that, start a normal cycle, hit and pause, or through the diagnostic mode too. You can run all that testing with the latch and everything. So for this repair, we're going to be replacing the control and the latch in our case here. So we'll show you how to replace both of these parts. All right, first thing we're going to do to get to the latch, we have to lift this lid up. So we're going to get the 2 1/4-inch screws at the back of the unit here. These 1/4-inch screws, you can see there's like a tab that sticks up from the back of the washing machine here. And then it has these 2 screws that go through it into the upper console, or the top panel here, the lid. So we're going to remove those 2, which will allow us to lift the lid up here. So once those 2 are out, you'll pull forward on the top lid here, and then you'll lift up and then slide it back, and it comes out off of these tabs. All right, there's also a cover back here, 1 1/4-inch screw, for the cover up the wires and the pressure hose where they go down into the cabinet there. It's also a good idea to take that off. It'll help you be able to lift it up easier, won't pinch those. Our latch is here. The wiring runs back along the side here in some clips. It goes up into the control panel, plugs into the control board. So here we're going to have 2 little Torx or star bit screws we're going to have to remove. Alright, so we just pull that down. We'll get our harness out of the clips here. Use a little flat blade here and pull the clip back. Alright, next we're going to need to open up the control panel here to get to the control board. 2 1/4-inch screws at the top here that go into the console. We'll remove those. Alright, so now that those 2 1/4-inch screws are out, we need to release the tabs in the front for this control panel. Use a small flat putty knife here. Get in there and depress the clip. You can lift that up. Go ahead and disconnect it from the control board here. And we'll set that to the side. Alright, so here's your lid lock that comes up and plugs into the control board here. So we'll pull the tab back and release that. Slide that through. And we actually have a clip here that still needs to be released. Just use a pair of needle nose to depress that. Push that through. And to remove the old lid latch. Alright, so we'll take the new one here, feed it up through. We'll get our harness back into the clips here. We'll get our latch into position here and reinstall our 2 torque screws. Alright, so if we were just doing the lid latch, you just plug that back into the control board, reassemble everything, and be good to go. But like I said, we're also doing the control board. So to determine, more often than not, your latch is going to be the issue when it throws the latch or the lock error codes. But you know, it can be the control board sometimes. In this case, we tested it all out. Everything was working properly at this time. So we're going to go ahead, and that's why we're doing both of them. But, you know, you can obviously test it out. There's some tests in the tech sheet that you can run through to pin out and test out the switches and locks in the latch itself. But you can also run the manual mode, lock and unlock that lid to see, you know, if you're hearing it attempt to lock. So you can probably, you know, diagnose it before you need to really get into the testings a lot of times. But we'll go ahead and get into the control board replacement here now. All right, so obviously we have our console off and unplugged. Here's our lid latch that's unplugged. We'll go ahead and unplug the rest of our components from the control board here. We got our pressure hose. I'll take that off. There's a little washer that'll stay on there. It might even be on the new control board. And then this is our incoming power wire. Alright, got a tab on the back side of this one. Push in. Here there's a tab that you have to push out on. Use a flathead and get that one. And for our valves over here, there's a tab on the inside here. Push in to release it. Alright, that looks like everything. We're going to have 2 1/4-inch screws that mount this on in place. And we're going to remove the control board. Alright, the control board going in place. Reinstall our 2 1/4-inch screws. Reconnect all the harnesses. When you push them in, they should all lock into place. And we do have a new clip on this one, or a new washer on the pressure sensor. Make sure that's on nice and tight. Get all the wires tucked back in here to this little track they have for them. Looks like we got everything plugged in. We'll get our console back on here next. Alright, everything's good there. We'll get our console mounted back in place here. You got the 2 tabs that'll go down into the holes in the lid there, and then just push down in the front. Snap and lock those back into place. You got your 4 screws to get back onto the back, and then we're going to run a diagnostic cycle here. Test out the latch, make sure it's functioning properly and everything. Diagnostic cycle on this, we didn't show that in the video earlier, did we? No. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and plug this back in here for you. Show you the diagnostic cycle on this. So with power on, no lights, nothing on, you're going to select any 3 buttons except for power and start, and go 1, 2, 3. Repeat that twice. So we'll show you here. 1, 2, 3. Okay, everything will light up like this. It means you're in diagnostic mode. Once the 888 disappears here or the lights go off. If there were any stored error codes, they would flash on the display. We've already been into diagnostic mode and have cleared the error codes out of this one, but this would be your error codes. It would show the first one. You would hit button 3 that you use to enter into the diagnostics to advance to the next error code. It beeps 3 times at you like that to let you know you've already gone through all of them and you're back to the beginning. If you press and hold this then for about 5 seconds or so till it beeps, it clears out all the error codes out of the system for you. And then button 2 will be all of your test modes. You can manually test every component out. You can also run a calibration and a quick cycle test, which will go through on its own and step through everything, test it out real quick for you. So you hit that button 2, hit start. You're going to use, I believe, temperature, and soil. So soil goes up and temperature goes down. Each one of those are different test modes. You'll have to refer to the chart in the tech sheet to see what those are, and you'll have to start each one of those up. And then back at the home screen there of the diagnostics, the first button would be your UI. You would hit this UI test button. Everything would light up again, and as you step through and hit the buttons, the lights will go off. That'll tell you if the buttons are responding and working properly.